Let's start by creating a new project folder. I'm going to go to File, Project, and then New. Over here, we're going to call this Miniman project folder. And then over here, I'm going to change the location to exercise files. And then over here, let's use the defaults and then hit accept. All right, so now I'm going to minimize Maya, and I'm just going to bring up a new Finder window. And over here in exercise files, I'm going to double click on Miniman project folder, and then I'm going to double click on source images. Okay. I need a second Finder window, so I'm going to hit Command N, N for new. And I'm just going to go over here to my pictures folder, and I'm going to find the Miniman side view, front view, and top view. I'm going to select all three of these files, right click, go to copy 3 items right here. And then over here in source images for the project folder, I'm going to right click and go to paste items. Alright, I'm going to close these Finder windows and go back to Maya. Alright, let's start by adding some reference planes. So I'm going to click on the plane right here, go over here to the channel box, go to polyplane 1 and change the subdivisions width and height to 1. And then I'll change the width and height to 10. We have our first plane. And I'll just go up here and let's name this top view plane. Alright, now I'm going to hit Command D and I'm going to rotate this up into the front view, and I'll change my rotate X value to 90. And we'll name this front view plane. Okay. And then I'll hit Command D again, and I'm going to rotate along the Z-axis. So, I'm sorry, rotate Y. That's going to be -90. Alright, I'm going to hit 6 in all 4 panels. And let's move these over a little bit. So this is going to go, translate X is going to be -5. This is going to be, translate Z is going to be -5. And this one, the top plane is going to be translate Y, will be -5. Alright, I'm going to turn off the grid in these views just for now. Hit Q for my selection tool, and I'll go to Window, Rendering Editors, and then Hypershade. I'm going to create 3 new Lamberts, so I'm just going to click 1, 2, 3. I'll start with Lambert 2 right here, so I'll double click, and let's name this Top Ref Matte. And let's see, I'm going to go over here to my color attribute, click on this little checkered box right here, and then click over here on File. Over here under Image Name, I'll click on this folder, and we're looking for Miniman Top View. I'll hit Open. Now, I'm going to hold down the middle mouse button, drag over to the Top View reference plane, and drop. There it goes. Now I'm going to double click on Lambert 3, and let's rename this to Front Ref Matte. And over here under Color, click on the checkered box, go to File. Over here under Image Name, click on this folder, click on Front View, and then hit Open. Hold down the middle mouse button, drag over to the front view reference plane in your panel here. And there's our front view. Alright, I'm going to double click on Lambert 4. And let's go to the name right here. And this is going to be Side Ref Matte. Alright, I'll click once on this button right here, click on File. Over here under Image Name, I'll click on the folder, and we'll do Side View, and then hit Open. Alright, let's take the side reference right here and drag it on. And I will close the hypershade, and I will go back to my channel box right here. I'm going to take this reference plane right here, and I'm going to rotate it along Y to, I'm going to change that to positive 90. And I'm just going to get rid of the grid for a second here. So this is our 3 reference planes. I'm going to select all 3 of these, and then go right here and add these objects to a new layer. I'll double click on layer 1 and call this ref layer. Hit save. Now normally at this stage, this is when I'd go to the layer and click on this empty box to turn it to a reference. However, I can see that the side view and the top view images don't line up. So that was a mistake that I made when I drew the reference images. So instead of going back and removing them and redrawing them and stuff, I'm just going to create a cube, and I can see right here this is not centered, so I'll turn on my grid right here. You can see the reference image is not centered. So let's start. I'm going to click and drag a box around all 3 of these, and let's go to the front view here, and I'll hit W. I'm going to move everything over. And basically what I'm looking for is I want this black line to be right in between the 2 eyes. Right there. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just scale this in. And I will move it over a little bit to line up. I'll scale it in a little more. Alright, so I'm going to right click, go to face, select this face, hit extrude, and go up. Alright, so now what I have here is basically I've just got a basic shape, and now I can see, let's go into Window, Rendering Editors, Hypershade, and let's create another Lambert and create a transparent material. So I'll just change the color here, and I'll move the transparency up, and I'm going to drag this onto that object. Close the hypershade. I'm going to turn on wireframe on shaded in each of the panels. So right now this shape is kind of in the middle of the torso in the front view. It's in the middle of the torso in the side view, but the top view is not lined up. So I'm going to click on not the object, but this reference plane, and I'm going to hit W, and I'm going to move it forward here. And basically what I want to do is I want to just line up this shape right here. So if I scale this out, I want to line it up with the arms. So you can see here, I might move the reference plane here. So now I've selected this side reference plane. I might move it over a tiny bit. Okay. So I'm going to scale this back in. And now I can kind of gauge that I have my reference planes all lined up with the kind of the core of Miniman's body. So once again, it's just because I made a mistake when I lined up these drawings. So when you draw them, it helps to get that right at the beginning, because it saves time later. You don't have to line up all these images. You just drop them onto the reference planes and start modeling. So now I need to bring my channel box back, and over here in the layer editor, I'm just going to click twice so that an R shows up to turn that to reference. And now I can no longer move any of these reference planes. Alright, so let's get started with the modeling process here. So I'm going to turn off the grid here, and I'm going to right click on this and go to vertex, and I'm going to select these vertices, the 4 vertices towards the top of the shape, hit W, move them down. I'll select the vertices right in the middle here and move up a little bit. So I'm going to switch over here to my front panel, and I want to focus on the top of this object. So the vertices at the top shouldn't go higher than the arms in the drawing there. So it should just reach the bottom of those arms. So then I'm going to go over here to the face right here on the top, and I'll extrude this up. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to hit Q, and I will start to shape this a little bit. So I'm going to move these vertices on the 4, all these vertices towards the top right here. I'm going to move them out a little bit. I'll move these out a tiny bit. Maybe come down a little bit right here. And then over here, I'll scale these two, this set of vertices out a little. Maybe scale this in and then move it over. Okay. So let's take this and move this all out, and take this side and move those right here. And maybe I'll take the waist and go up a little bit here. Take this corner, move it in. So before I go any further, I'm going to split this torso right down the middle. So I'm going to right click and go to object mode. And just for a moment, I'm going to turn off my reference layer. And I'm going to turn on the grid. And now what I want to do is I just want to add an edge loop going right through the center of this object. So I'll go to Edit Mesh, and go to Insert Edge Loop tool, and insert it right here in the center. And just to make sure I'm right on the lines there, I'm going to select all these vertices here, hold down X, hit W, hold down X, and snap. So you see if it's over here, I can hold down X, snap to that line. Alright, I'll go back to object mode now, and I'll turn my reference images back on. Over here, I'll turn the grid off. Alright. So let's select the faces down here on the bottom. And I'm going to hit extrude and go down and then scale in. Let's see here. I'm going to add one more edge loop. So I'll go to Edit Mesh, Insert Edge Loop tool, and add one right here. And let's scale that out. Okay, that looks good. Alright, let's see. I'm going to go in here, vertex, and select these 2 vertices and scale them in. And then right here, I'm going to select, actually, let's leave that for later. I'm going to select the faces at the top. And I'm going to hit extrude, and go up, and scale in. And then let's check. That looks like it's a pretty even square shape right there. So I will just check over here, and it looks like I could scale this in a little bit. Yeah. Alright, so let's extrude up for the neck. So I'm going to take this extrusion and go up to right where the head meets the neck right here. Then I'll hit extrude again, and go up to the top of the head. And then let's see, we need to extrude out. So I'll select the two faces on the front. I know this shape looks pretty strange. This long, super long neck right here looks pretty strange, but we're going to change that into the head. So in working with this shape, it's really important to keep the edge loops at a low count while we first start to shape the head. So let's extrude those faces out. Okay. And now I'm going to take 4 faces, 1, 2, 3, 4, and extrude these out. Alright, now I'm going to add some edge loops. I got to insert edge loop tool, and I'll add 2 edge loops, just dividing the top head shape into thirds. Alright, so now we've got a blockhead. So we need to come in here and start to shape this. So I'm going to start by selecting the edges in the corners here. So I hit F to frame it, and I'm going to hit R, and I'm going to scale these in first along the x-axis and then along the z-axis. And then let's take the 3 edges on the very center, in the front and back, and let's scale them out slightly, just a tiny bit. Alright. So let's come up over here to the front panel, and I'll select the vertices on both sides here and move them down. And I'll select this set of vertices in the center and move them up a little bit. And then I'm going to take everything and move it all down. Take these here, scale them in a little bit. And let's take the corners here. So hold down Shift to select both sides and move them up a little bit. And then scale them in. I'm going to take this edge loop right here, row of vertices, and I'm going to move them down. And then I'm going to select these 2 rows of vertices and scale them out. Okay. So I'm going to go over here to the side panel, and I'm going to select this section right here. So kind of in the middle towards the back, and then move these back. I'm going to select 1, 2, 3, this section right here in the corner, move it down. Select the 3 vertices going, or the 3 sets of vertices going in this corner, and move it down. And same thing with this corner, move it over. I'm going to take these 2 vertices here, move those down. I'll take this and move it down a little bit further. Okay, so I want to round out the head just a little bit more. So I'm going to go back to Edge here. So I'll hit Q for my selection tool. I'm going to select, there's 3 edges kind of still. You can still kind of see that we started with a rectangle or cube shape. Just going to select 12 edges here. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to hit R for my scale tool and scale in a little bit more. on the z-axis and then a little more on the x-axis just to round out that head a tiny bit more. Alright, I'm going to take these edges here, these two edges here on the back towards the top, and hit W and move them down. Okay. Alright, I'm going to right click and go to object mode, and I'm just going to save this right now. So I'll go to File, Save Scene As, and I'll title this Miniman Stage 1 and hit save. Okay, in the next video we will delete one side of this object and do a duplicate special and then continue on with the arms and the legs.